One of these crispy chicken burgers is 510 calories and 51 grams of protein. They're perfect for storing, put them in the fridge or the freezer, take them out of the house whenever you need them, and they taste absolutely incredible.
To 750 grams or 1.6 pounds of chicken mince, add 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of celery salt, then season with ground white pepper, roughly half a teaspoon's worth. Give it a good mix with clean hands or a spoon, make sure all of the spices and seasonings are mixed through until you have something that looks like this. Then what we want to do is weigh the total amount and divide it by 5. It should work out to be 150 grams or 5.2 ounces per patty. If you find it too sticky, you can damp your hands a little bit, but don't drench them. And a good little tip is to stretch the patties slightly bigger than your burger buns. That way it will compensate for any shrinkage when they're cooking. Go through and continue with the rest, and you should have 5 even-sized patties. For the crumb, I am using cornflakes. Now you don't have to use these if you don't want to, you can use panko breadcrumbs or regular breadcrumbs, but cornflakes do make a significant difference to the macros. Crush them up and then add in half a teaspoon each of dried thyme, dried basil and dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of both celery salt and mustard powder, 1.5 teaspoons of sweet or smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic salt, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, and then a combination of ground black and white pepper to taste. As always, the written recipe is in the description. Mix that all together, make sure everything is thoroughly combined, and that right there is our quick, simple, and easy crumb mix. Now into a separate bowl, crack in 3 eggs. This is going to be used to help stick our crumb to our patties. After a few tests on this recipe, I reckon you can get away with 2 eggs. I have used 3 eggs for this recipe and it is included in the macros, but it's always good to test out for yourself and see what works for you. Give them a good whisk around with a fork and just make sure everything is combined, breaking that yolk into the white. You may also notice I'm not using flour for this recipe. I just wanted to cut down on the carbs and the calories, and it actually worked as well. So we can go straight into the egg mix with the patties. I do suggest being quite gentle with them. It is really delicate as it's only chicken mince and it's not a whole piece of chicken. And once it's done in the egg mix, transfer over to the cornflakes and just give it a good mix around, patting on all of the crumbs, making sure everything's stuck. Transfer it onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper and a touch of spray oil just to prevent them from sticking, then go through and continue with the rest. I tried to do this with the one hand method, but it is so much easier doing it with 2, especially with something so delicate. Lightly spray the top of the chicken patties with a little bit more spray oil, transfer to a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for 20 to 22 minutes, flipping halfway. In the meantime, we'll make our sauce. You guys suggested I use yogurt instead of mayo, so that's what we're doing. This is 125 grams or half a cup, along with 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of Frank's hot sauce or any hot sauce of your choice. Season to taste with salt and ground white pepper, and then mix it with a spatula until everything's combined. And this is tangy, it's smooth and buttery, and it goes really well in the burger. I'm using 150 grams or 5.2 ounces of iceberg lettuce for this recipe. You can really just use any lettuce of your choice, and I'm chiffonading it or slicing it into those thin ribbons. As for the buns, we're going to need 5 of them. You can try and find low carb, low cal buns. They can be quite expensive. I am just using regular brioche. And you can toast these or leave them fresh. I am going to place them on a baking tray and then put them under the grill or the broiler until they're golden brown. You can do them in a toaster, in a pan, or like I said, just leave them fresh. That choice is all up to you. After 20 minutes and flipped halfway, our chicken patties are now done. They're crispy and golden. These can be removed from the oven. Whether you toasted the buns or left them fresh, divide the sauce by 5, putting about half a tablespoon on the bottom and half a tablespoon on the top, and then spread it all out so you're getting a bit of sauce with each bite. Lay down the lettuce. I like to put this at the bottom, that way it doesn't all fall out of the burger, but you're more than welcome to put it on top of the patty. Then we can start placing down the patties on top of that lettuce, and I am using cheese for this recipe, but I haven't included it in the macros because it is optional and I know some people don't like to use it, but that choice is all yours. Chuck on the top buns to complete the burgers or sandwiches, however you want to pronounce it, and these look absolutely delicious and they are really crispy as well. Wrap them up in food paper, put them in meal prep containers, Ziploc bags, aluminium foil, whatever you have, and to reheat them, put them in a pan, a microwave, the oven, or an air fryer. One other thing to mention, if you have them frozen, allow them to thaw overnight in the fridge. This recipe serves 5, and this macro card is for 1 individual burger or sandwich.
When everything's done, we can then dig in. Oh. This is everything you'd expect from a healthier alternative. It is absolutely delicious as well without the use of excess oil. It's crispy, it's juicy, the crumb has a lot of flavor, the sauce is really tangy with that hint of spice on the palate. Of course, I've added cheese, which is completely optional, and I haven't included it in the macros, and then the bun is up to you as well. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already, along with hitting the bell notification next to it. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.